Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
We've just lost 90% of our young audience out there. Who's Susan Lucci? I don't know why they're an old lady voice, but anyways.
And he'd be like, yeah, exactly.
All you want. Agree to disagree.
Disney fight.
See, two dudes talking about Disney. Oh.
So many viewers. We just lost so many.
Hey there, Groovy Cats. I'm Mike Fields.
And I'm Mike Butler.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it's because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the movie simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Right on. How you doing, sir?
Oh, right. I'm doing groovy. How
now
you doing?
We're talking in 70s talk because we're going to be talking about a movie that we both like, right?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. We're talking about The Nice Guys today. So before I start talking about The Nice Guys, here we go. There it is. I had to flip over my Excel sheet so that I could see the facts. Nice, and nice. I will promise I will stop talking in this groovy tone right now. So The Nice Guys has a runtime of 116 minutes. It's rated R. Had a production budget of $50 million, was released on May 20th, 2016. That was a Friday. Its opening weekend, it did 11 million. Domestic total did 36, and then worldwide 62. So clearly not a hit.
I wanted so many sequels.
No, well, we'll talk about that. So as I said, it was released May 20th. That weekend, it went up against the Angry Birds movie and Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising, which we saw as a screener, right? We watched Neighbors 2.
Did not watch Neighbors 2.
We did.
Neighbors 1.
I think that are called Neighbors, but yes.
Yes.
The week before, what came out the week before was Money Monster, The Darkness, Green Room, and The Lobster. I believe Green Room and The Lobster were limited. So you're probably looking at Money Monster, which is the George Clooney.
The George Clooney.
Yeah,
we
talked about, I believe we talked about Money Monster at one of our other podcasts.
We did. It competed against one of our other films at one point as well.
Really?
Maybe it came out the week after one.
Maybe. I'm not, because I'm looking through this and maybe. All right. So then obviously this is May of 2016. So on the 6th, you had Captain America Civil War, which I do remember we talked about too. So you did have some, the 2 weeks leading up to The Nice Guys, you did have a heavy hitter in terms of Captain America Civil War. The week after this movie came out, the 27th, you had X-Men Apocalypse and Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Ooh.
So you really, I guess your biggest competition here, and it is hindsight's 2020 because we've seen these movies, so there was a lead up to like, ooh, X-Men Apocalypse, it could be what's going to be, and Alice Through the Looking Glass is a sequel, so that's that's another one that people were trying to like, ooh, I can't wait, but so maybe looking at it right now, maybe the competition isn't so fierce because you've seen these, but back then you didn't know, so it's the beginning of the summer season, so clearly, it's going to have good movies around it. This movie was directed and written by Shane Black. He had some help on the writing aspect. Anthony Bagarozzi? No, that's Bagarozzi. Whatever. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong, sir.
I think Bagarozzi is right.
I think so. Yeah. I'm trying to give it an Italian spin to it since I'm Italian, but I don't really know how to give it the Italian spin.
Anthony Bagarozzi.
Okay, that's fine.
Maybe they probably call him Anthony Bags.
Ooh, that'd be a nice name. That's a good
Bags?
nickname. Hey, that's a good name too. If he's listening, hopefully he's going to adopt that nickname. That's a great name. That's a great nickname. So Shane Black has directed more recently The Predator, Iron Man 3, and then Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He also wrote Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and he wrote all three of those. But I also have his credits for written. He has written a lot of movies. Now I'm going to list some of these movies, and you're going to be like, really? So Lethal Weapon, Monster Squad, Last Action Hero, Long Kiss Goodnight. It's everything. He's a big time writer. He's actually in the original Predator. If you remember, I'm not going to go into specifics, but he's actually in that movie, and he did some uncredited rewrites on that movie.
He's the dude with the glasses.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Well, there's other people with glasses.
You got time to duck? That's who he
is. His writing partner in this movie is actually writing Doc Savage with him, which is what's coming out or what he's working on now.
Oh, it's actually going to happen.
Well,
now?
it's in pre-production.
I know they've been trying to make a Doc Savage for a long time.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it's coming out. I'm being an optimist.
If he's writing it, I'm in.
I'm being an optimist. Music by David Buckley and John Ottman. David Buckley has done the Jason Bourne, The Town, Gone Baby Gone, and 50 Shades of Grey. I know you're a big fan of that.
Oh, yeah.
And Ottman is not only, he's an editor as well. So
he was Bryan Singer's go-to guy.
He's an editor, but he's also a composer. He does two things. In terms of music, he's composed Usual Suspects, Valkyrie, which is a movie that we did, Cellular, and Superman Returns. He actually won an Oscar for editing Bohemian Rhapsody. They won that last year, yeah. The cinematography by Philippe Rousselot. And I know we've already talked about him because he did Constantine. And I probably got his name better in Constantine when we did it.
I think it was kind of the same.
Well, I'm consistent. And he is an Academy Award winner for River Runs Through It. Produced by Joel Silver, who, if you don't know who Joel Silver is, if you grew up in the 80s and watched a ton of action movies, he produced those. Predator, Commando, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, Hudson Hawk, another episode we did season 1, and a movie called Weird Science. If you have not heard of that, you should check it out. It's pretty good.
Weird Science, huh? That's a movie that came out in what, the 80s or something?
Oh, yeah. That's not forgotten, though, is it?
I don't think so at all. I think if you grew up in the 80s, that's like, yeah. Everyone talks about it.
Let me run through the cast, and then we'll get to exactly what The Nice Guys is about, and then we'll dive into our thoughts and feelings and share.
Oh, all right.
Russell Crowe plays Jackson Healy. Russell Crowe is from Beautiful Mind, Man of Steel. He won the Oscar for his portrayal of Maximus in Gladiator. Ryan Gosling plays Holland March. You may remember him from such movies as La La Land, First Man, Blade Runner 2049, and The Notebook. I know Mike Butler's a big Notebook fan. I'm gonna butcher this name because I do not know how to say this name, and I tried to find a way to say this name and I couldn't. So the role of Holly March, which is Holland March's daughter, is played by Anjali Rice.
Yeah, so I would. Yeah.
Okay, she's actually in the Spider-Man movies, which I didn't know. I didn't know she's in both of them. She must play one of the kids, like the school kids that are his friend.
Really?
Yeah, and she's also in The Beguiled, the remake that came out a couple years ago with Nicole Kidman. Excuse me. Matt Bomer plays John Boy. He is popular from the TV show White Collar, what was on USA. That's where he kind of like you first heard from him. And then he was in Magic Mike, and he's actually in the upcoming TV series The Sinner. Margaret Qualley plays Amelia Kuttner. She is in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, she is.
And she's also in the Leftovers TV show.
I forgot that she was in this movie, and I was like, that's Margaret Qualley.
Keith David plays his character's name is Older Guy. That's okay, I guess. Keith David is from The Thing, They Live, and Requiem for a Dream. He has one of my favorite lines from Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream.
Listen, I'm gonna do it.
Got it.
I'm gonna redo it so you can just put it in there.
Go for it.
I swear to God, you better edit it the right way. He is also from Requiem for a Dream. He has one of my favorite lines in that movie, which I will not repeat here. Bo Knapp plays Blueface. If you are seeing the movie, he's obviously the person that gets blue on his face.
Oh, man, really?
He is in Black and Blue, Super 8, and Death Wish. Kim Basinger plays Judith Kuttner, LA Confidential, Batman, The Natural. She was the one that shoots him in The Natural, FYI. Yaya DaCosta plays Tali. She is from The Kids Are All Right and The Butler. It was called Lee Daniels, The Butler, but I'm calling it The Butler.
Well, you'd be wrong.
Well, I don't agree with that title. That's like me putting my name in front of all the movies that I do. That's stupid. And not that he's stupid. I just don't like that. Jack Kilmer, I only put this in there because it's Val Kilmer's son. So he's in this movie as well. I believe he's Chet.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he looks like him too. But he's also in the Stanford Experiment, if it was looking. So before we start talking about what we thought about it, Mike, why don't you let everybody know what this movie is about?
So The Nice Guys takes place in 1970s Los Angeles choked by smog and pollution because it's before environmental controls were put on cars. Ryan Gosling played Holland March, a guy hired by Misty Mountain's porn actress's aunt, who Misty Mountains dies 2 days previous, and the aunt swears she saw her alive. So has hired Holland March, private investigator, to find her. In the process, Jackson Healy, a professional tough guy, gets hired by a girl named Amelia. Amelia is a friend of Misty Mountains, or has worked with her, and is being fears for her life. So she hires Jackson Healy to kind of protect her. And one of the ways he does this is he finds out Holland March is looking for her and basically beats the crap out of Holland March. Both of these guys are really not nice guys, which is the point of the title, Nice Guys. Holland March is a heavy drinking alcoholic, single father. Russell Crowe is obviously just a tough guy who dreams of being something more, but finds himself always just wound up beating the crap out of people for a living. After Jackson beats up Holland and thinks Amelia's safe. He is actually approached by two men, Blueface and older guy, and basically asked, "Where's Amelia?" He's able to escape from those two guys and beats them up, finds Holland March and basically says, "Listen, I need you to solve this case because I need these guys off my back. I need to know, what happened to Misty Mountains and what's going on with Amelia because I need to be able to, live peacefully." He says he doesn't want to move, but he also doesn't want these guys on his back. So Holland March, Private Eye, and Jackson Healy, professional tough guy, team up to try to solve the murder of Misty Mountains and find out where Amelia might actually be now. And in the process, they get mixed up in this huge conspiracy revolving the Detroit auto industry and environmental controls on cars, which is why I mentioned the smog earlier. It all has to do with catalytic converters and not wanting to put them on vehicles because it would cost too much money. And for this, the auto industry is willing to kill whoever gets in their way to stop it.
Detroit.
The whole movie is done in an action comedy kind of Lethal Weapon-esque type way, which makes sense because of Shane Black.
Yep.
And the movie is fantastic, and that's my review.
Yep.
It's fucking fantastic.
Whoa,
right.
The F word.
Well, we're going to throw a lot of F word clips in there.
We are? Oh, we are? Okay, that's fine. I really, really like this movie. It's funny. I love the strong point about this movie is the leads.
Oh, yeah.
Is just their knowledge of their characters in terms of who they are, and their decisions and their choices in this movie are what push the story along. Whereas in a lot of movies, you may have characters where things are happening to these characters and then they're just kind of reacting. This, they further the story along. As for an example, when they go to the Hollywood party and he gets drunk, March gets drunk because he's dealing with the fact, and I think did you mention he's dealing with the fact that his wife has recently passed. Their house exploded from a gas leak.
I didn't mention that, but yeah, yeah.
He can't smell, so he blames himself. So his daughter, who takes care of him, and his daughter's like a 13-year-old girl, and he's a drunk. He drinks a lot. Not drunk, but he drinks a lot. So they go to this party to look for Amelia because she's going to be at this big time Hollywood porno party, and he gets drunk and jumps into the tank with the mermaids. So I got to question him, and so he is up on that balcony. And he's like, I'm an actor. He's talking to this girl, and she's like, and she's dressed as like a Native American, and he's like, I'm a cowboy, and she like starts shooting him. He's like, oh, and then he falls over and he tumbles down the hill. When he tumbles down the hill, he finds the dead body of Sid Shattuck.
Right.
He sees Amelia. He loses his gun.
I'm a cowboy. And you?
Pocahontas.
What do you do?
Do a little bit of acting.
Me too. Hey, shoot me.
What?
Shoot me, fucking shoot me.
Bang!
It's pretty good.
Bang!
Oh.
Bang!
That's not going to happen if Holland March is not somebody who is the perfect PI. If he's not somebody who's been drinking, who has personal issues, who stumbles upon who they're supposed to get. Like, that's the whole point of it. Like, that pushes the story. It's an organic style of storytelling where the characters are influencing what's happening within the story. Now, some people may look at that and be like, oh, that's just happenstance. That's coincidence. That's just dumb luck. That's just stupidity. That's, stupid characters doing stupid things. No, it's organic storytelling. That's an example of it right there. You may not want to create a story like that. You may not like stories like that.
Right.
And that's fine. But in this movie, it completely works, and it's completely validated and justified, which I may seem like I'm coming on the offensive, but I'm only trying to, just because a movie is silly or just because a movie has, funny lines and it's just like it's off the wall, doesn't mean that there's not some kind of purpose behind it that would push it along.
I totally agree with that. I think the reason I like Nice Guys is because I've talked before how a lot of procedurals kind of bore me because it's just your main characters are there, but the story just kind of happens and they're almost guest stars on their own show.
Right.
But in the Nice Guys, they are the story. The story is them. They, like you said, influence the story. They affect the story. They become, for better or worse, part of their own investigation.
Yeah.
Which adds to the enjoyability of the film, adds to their characterizations, means that the story and plot actually affects them in different ways, and also means that they get to mess it up real good.
Right, absolutely.
In an enjoyable kind of way.
Absolutely. And also to that point, I only do this every once in a while. I'll read reviews of the movie. I don't ever really read reviews before I watch a movie. If I see a movie I want to watch, I'll watch it.
Right.
Somebody tells me, hey, this movie's good, this TV show's good, I'll watch it. Even if I'm interested, I'll watch it. I don't look to reviews to kind of shape what I think about a movie.
Right.
I may look to reviews if I don't understand something in a movie, or I'm like trying to grasp what they're trying to say, and I want to see what other people say to kind of shape like, oh, okay, that makes sense, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was reading some of the reviews off when we were doing the research, and Rex Reed had a review where he goes, and this is just a quote towards the end. It's another submental. Oh, by the way, it's not a good review. It's another submental movie for morons churned out by the kind of sophomoric Hollywood machine that trademarks the works of Judd Apatow and company. Now, here's the thing. I take umbrage with that for a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons is like Shane Black has been around before Judd Apatow. I mean, they may have, Judd Apatow. I mean, you know what I mean? Like he's been producing.
Attacking Judd Apatow.
I don't know.
For no reason.
It's stupid.
It's not his movie.
It's stupid. And here's the other thing. With all due respect to Rex Reed, and listen, I'm somebody who's going to get up in age. It's not a movie for you. So clearly don't review it. It's not a movie that you can enjoy. It's not your type of film. This is why I can't stand critics, because it's always like, it's this. There's nothing constructive in that quote at all. There's nothing constructive in that quote, and criticism should be constructive. But anyways, I'll stop. But I have one more too. So A.O. Scott also wrote this. I don't know who he was. I don't think he was with Entertainment Weekly at this time. He's with whoever he's with now. I don't know who. New York Times or LA Times.
Weekly just hate it.
I could care less.
Sometimes it's everything.
Even nostalgic nonsense requires more than attitude and energy, which is all that Mr. Black has to offer. And despite all its restless detective work, The Nice Guys is unable to track down a soul or a reason for being. Listen, you just didn't get the movie. You just, it's like you watch, when you're in this business and you probably watch 400 films a year. How can you really be able to take a step back and enjoy anything? This is turning into an anti-critics thing, and I don't mean it that way. It's just it doesn't serve any purpose to just attack. It doesn't serve any purpose to just give reasons, because I'd rather have a review be like, listen, I understand why people like it. I just don't.
I think Vanity Fair does this. They don't rate movies anymore.
I hate rating movies. Yeah.
They just which, I mean, I'll rate a movie when I talk to my friends and stuff, but that's me personally just giving it out, not to the public, because we don't rate movies here. We don't judge them at Forgotten Cinema.
Right.
But if I'm talking to my friends and be like, oh, I'd give it, an A, B, or I'll give it a 10 scale. But I like that Vanity Fair because they're a magazine telling people about the movie. It's just opinions and stuff like that. So they don't ever rate the movie. They don't. Again, I'm pretty sure this is Vanity Fair. They'll just not give a score at the end. It'll be their review, what they thought of the movie, but they won't tell you don't go see it or go see it.
Right.
Or
they'll give you their impression.
Or they'll give you their impression of the movie, because that's all a review really is. Because again, we've talked about it before. These reviewers are not making movies. They're not putting their heart and souls into these movies. They're not putting them in. They're sitting down on their computers and then basically like comic book guy from The Simpsons, talking about their disgust on the internet.
Well, I mean, generally, this movie does have a favorable percentage of people that enjoy it. I mean,
what's funny is I know a lot of people who actually hate this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do they hate it?
They just think it's garbage nonsense.
Do they like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? I mean, they're essentially the same film.
I'm not sure. I don't think a lot of people. I know you think a lot of people have seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but I really think we need to put that on Forgotten Cinema.
Everyone I know has seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
You know a lot of people that are really into movies, though,
maybe,
unlike our filmies.
Yeah, that's
which is a new.
I didn't realize that a lot of people didn't like this movie.
I'm not saying a lot of people didn't like this, but I know a decent amount of people that are not.
Well, that's too bad. That's too bad, because this movie's really, really good, and they should give it. I tell them to give it another chance. So it might just not be the movie they were expecting. Because some people are expecting Lethal Weapon, I think. And this is a little more screwball than Lethal Weapon. It doesn't exist in the same world as Lethal Weapon. Well, these guys aren't. I mean, the stuff that happens in Lethal Weapon it's great. It's good action, but it's ridiculous to think that you're going to have a guy on your police force that's suicidal, that's going to be able to just walk around with a gun in LA and do what he needs to do and just get away with it.
Well, I think that's ridiculous in a more action gritty way. And yes, there's some humor in what they say in their relationship just because it's witty. And this is more. It's not gritty. It's more bright and humorous. It's like the opposite side of Lethal Weapon.
But these guys aren't cops.
Side of reality.
Yeah, I get you. These guys are PIs, so they're kind of working outside the law regardless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. I agreed. I think it's great. Obviously, and so I don't want to. I mean, I know what this episode for us is going to turn into. We're just going to start doing quotes. and that's fine. I'm trying. I want to try to
get the other stuff out of the way first.
Right. Well, I not get the other stuff out of the way first. I want to just kind of like go into like just the making of the movie and all that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I didn't realize that it's loosely based on a pulp novel. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was also based on the same writer's set of books, but this is based on the pulp novel Blue Murder.
Well, I knew Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was based on a book. I didn't know that this was.
Yeah. And they kind of reference it in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because like part of the plot is the Johnny Gosling novels. And and they talk about how the pulp novel will start off where there's two separate cases, but then they end up becoming one case. And that happens in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Like they're two separate things, but they're actually the same case. Same thing happens here. You know, he's looking for Amelia. And Healy is looking to protect Amelia, but then he wants to find Amelia. But then there's this other thing that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Forget it.
Balloons into its own, like a bigger conspiracy.
Basically, this is kind of like the same idea where there's different cases. There's two different things that are becoming one.
I think that's the best kind of detective story that you want. You want that. That's like classic Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Is, you know, you stumble upon what you think is a simple murder. It turns out you're actually now stumbled into investigating something larger. You found the key to yet another investigation that's much larger and wider, which also makes for a more dramatic narrative as well. It makes it more of a movie. You know, you solve a simple murder, that's great for Law and Order, that's great for Criminal Minds or Psych or Monk. But when you're doing a movie, it's like there's got to be another layer to it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like we've done a lot of detective movies, and we have a lot of detective movies on the back burner.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I like detective.
The best ones, all balloon into something bigger, a grander thing.
Initially, this was going to be a TV series.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and it's still kind of in there, and I think probably when it was the TV series, they probably had more stuff. But there's film nods to the Rockford Files in this movie. So when his agency ad in the beginning, when he shows like, got a cool ad, you see that? That means something.
Like a Filipino dad.
Yeah, but like that's from the Rockford. Like that's kind of like it mimics the Rockford Files ad, and keeping the gun in the cookie jar is a Rockford Files thing that he would do. So I would assume that just carried over from when it was going to be a TV series. This was written in 2001. This was written 15 years earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was set in the contemporary world. It was set now, and then maybe like I think 10 years ago so 2009. They were like, hey, let's put it in the 70s. So that wasn't even initially where it was going to go. It was supposed to just, which I actually like it in this. I think the reason why I like it so much is because it's 1977.
The 70s really gives it a different flair and gives it a different style and allows your characters to be more characters. You know, you can't have them dress like that and really show off like that. The 70s style was wild and inventive and colorful and allows your characters to really kind of dress their part.
Yeah.
Whereas modern day, you know, you couldn't really, you can still kind of do that, but you could do it a little more now. The fact that they're PIs helps too.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, regulated to like a certain outfit or suit or anything like that.
Well, Healy's not really, he's a PI. Obviously at the end,
he's like a professional,
but he's like a thug.
He's a professional tough guy. Is what I say.
He basically stops people from doing stuff. People pay him to stop other people from doing things.
Right.
You know.
But I would imagine that the earlier scripts probably have a different, wider conspiracy. Because obviously everyone's got a newer version of a catalytic converter nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, environmental controls are on cars. It would have to be something different. You know what I thought, which was interesting, was as I was watching this time, after doing the Chinatown episode, or not Chinatown, the Two Jakes episode that we did, and we talked about how the third in the Jake Getty series was supposed to be about
the highways,
and pollution and stuff. I was like, this is kind of like Shane Black's version of the Two Gettys, the Two Jakes sequel, which I thought was interesting. I was like, oh, I wonder if that's why they did this plot line.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's Detroit had her killed. I heard about that. Everyone took a photo. A big turnout. Yeah, big turnout. Okay, I'm sorry. I know we're supposed not to.
I think he's comparing you to Hitler.
So this was one of two movies that Crowe, and I'm already going to blank on the first one because I had it, that wanted to do a sequel. Like he wanted to do a sequel of this movie and they just couldn't do it. I mean, they still could. It's only been 4 years ago.
Yeah, let's go.
But speaking of that, like I guess let me ask. Let's go into why it was forgotten. Then, do you think it's forgotten? Is it safe to say that it's been forgotten or just overlooked? Maybe, but this isn't overlooked cinema. This is forgotten cinema because people just didn't quote get it. Do you think that's part of the reason?
I don't like to say people.
I don't
because
either.
We talk about that one person that we both know who's what was that? Like he just said, oh, you just didn't get it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate saying that somebody doesn't get it because you're not calling the other person stupid, or you're not saying that you get it and other people. I just don't.
Well, that's a passive aggressive way of saying that I'm better than you.
Exactly.
So do you think people didn't get it?
That's very the business. That's what I always hated when actors are like, people in my drama department back in college were like, I want to do this, but I only want to do it. We only act out the emotions of the scene. And I would always say that's stupid. And they would always say, you just don't get it. No, I get it. You want to be artsy, fartsy for no reason and only do part of a play.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be lazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hate when people say you just don't get it. It's a defense mechanism for the hoity-toity. But yeah, I think people just didn't appreciate it. I think that it's definitely got this 90s kind of feel that people aren't like into nowadays. It's a little more over the top than I think people were expecting. It's a really out there movie that's not really, it doesn't, like, Shane Black is not being held back by anybody. He's not being told that's not really what flies nowadays, or like that's not really what's going on now.
And yet they had him do the Predator.
And they had him do the Predator, which I know you don't like the Predator, but I enjoy the Predator. The dialogue.
I expected a little, but I expected it to be a little bit more. I expected more from it, and it's fine. The dialogue's funny, but I don't know. I expected more.
That's fine.
Like the ending of the Predator when they show the suit that they're supposed to. It's like that didn't excite me.
Oh, I'm sure that was forced into it. Let's make this a universe.
Well, it was supposed to be.
Arnold.
Yeah. So that would, and he couldn't do it, or he didn't want to do it, or whatever. I don't know. What about the release date? Because
I don't think. I mean, it's the day after my birthday, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, but it has nothing. This isn't about you.
It's not about me.
No.
Oh, damn.
So your birthday? I didn't realize your birthday was the 19th.
Yeah.
No wonder you love Phantom Menace. Go ahead.
We talked about that in the Phantom.
You have to understand something. I don't remember things. I don't remember what we talk about in previous episodes. I just remember we did them.
But yeah, I don't think this is a May movie. But I also think the R rating doesn't help it in terms of being forgotten. In terms of
I think the R rating makes it better.
I absolutely do as well in theaters. But I think in terms of if it didn't make a lot of money in the cinema, this would have gone to FX. It would have gone to different movie networks like that, and it really couldn't because of the R rating. I know that they filmed a toned down version because they have scenes like in the porno party. They have scenes where the girls are wearing bikinis, so they reshot scenes to avoid the nudity. And they made an alternate opening where the guy didn't open the Mystery Mountains.
But you can't, because then you can't even go to when she dies because she's naked,
right?
When she says her line.
So they have like alternate takes for the cleaned up version. But I think probably nobody wanted that because it's a different movie. So I think the rated R version, in terms of getting it out there after the fact, become like, because I think this could have been a cult hit, and I think the thing kind of stopping that is it's newer. So maybe down the line we'll see it become more of a cult hit. And the fact that
we are down the line.
We're a little bit down the line. Some things take a long time to become, something that audiences find. But I think it's going to be tough to find this one because it's rated R.
This has been on HBO, not to cut you off. This has been on HBO or Showtime. And whatever it's on, I just keep it on. And then my wife will be like, well, what, you're watching this again? I'm like, well, it's good. And then she won't stay to watch it. But back to the...
Well, you should be saying it's good and stuff.
It's we'll get to that later. Well, it's interesting talking about the release date because this was originally supposed to be released June 17th.
Even worse.
2016. And they got pushed for Central Intelligence, the Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart movie.
Well, that's smart because Kevin Hart back then.
Well, that's a big, 4 years ago, that was when he was blowing up, absolutely. And to some extent, Dwayne Johnson as well. I mean, that was more probably his movie than Kevin Hart's movie.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't even see how much Central Intelligence, how well it did. I didn't even look. I should have.
I'm going to guess. Hold on.
I don't remember it being busy.
More than this.
I don't remember it being busy.
Neither do I.
So, did you know that Robert Downey Jr. is in this?
Is he?
Yeah, he plays Sid Shattuck's dead body. That's him.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hey man, well, I'll do it. I'll be on there. Yeah, that was him. It's him with a fake beard. They're like, I read the thing. It was like he wears a fake beard. Why does that need to be in there? I get that. That's the note.
He also has a half blown off face.
Yeah, no, I get it. He had makeup on and nobody knew. I mean, telling me he has a fake beard doesn't help me at all. I think I'm a little cranky today.
You're jaded, man.
I'm not jaded. I'm just sick and tired of people. I'm sick and tired of having people tell me what I should like or what's good or what's the best thing ever or what's the worst thing ever. The whole friggin' thing is subjective.
Welcome to Forgotten Hate Fest.
That's not a hate fest. It's an annoyance with just how people, I guess, take in movies and actually have conversations and dialogues with other people. I can have a dialogue with anybody about movies. You don't like it, that's fine. I've had people come up to me and something that I've done and said, sorry. I've had people come up to me and say something that I've done and been like, oh, it's not really that good, man. Not that funny. And all I would say be like, well, thanks for watching. You know, like thanks for joining me. Like I won't really like, I mean, I get it. It's subjective, but I can have a conversation with somebody who doesn't like the movie and just tell them what I like. I mean, I've had countless people come to my face and say, I hate Indiana Jones and the Kingdom's Crystal Skull. I hate that movie. It's so terrible. It's garbage. And it's like, listen, I like the movie and I like the movie because I love Indiana Jones, and that's fine. That's my bias. I get that. But I'm not going to have an argument about it with you because that's not going to serve any purpose. I enjoy parts of the movie. I know you like some stuff. You don't like some stuff. We still talk. We still have to film discussion.
I'm not saying it's the best in the series.
Right.
And
that's fine.
But there are some fantastic parts in there, and it's still, like you said, it's still Indiana Jones.
And it just bugs me when people say like this movie's garbage, because even if you don't like the movie in and of itself, there are tons of things in this movie to like about, especially the lines, especially the quotes.
The dialogue in this film is bar none like some of the best in a long time.
So give me your favorite one.
Oh God. I mean, the classic line is obviously, don't say and stuff, just say dad, there are whores here. I mean, that was from the trailer, and that's when I knew I wanted to watch this movie. When that line, I was like, this movie is what?
Dad, there's like whores here and stuff.
Sweetheart, how many times have I told you, don't say and stuff. Just say, Dad, there are whores here.
Well, there's like a ton. Wait, no.
And then she turns around on the porn actress. She's like, this is where we do anal and stuff.
Don't say and stuff. Just say, this is where we do anal.
The girl's like, yeah.
But I think what got me this time, more than pretty much anything else, is when he goes to the burnt down house and the kid's right there. And he goes, I tried to show him my dick. Got a big dick. You want to see my big dick?
Yeah, nobody wants to see your dick, dude.
Wait, what am I saying? Fuck.
Tried to get a job. I offered to show my dick because I got a big dick.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
You sure you didn't see another girl?
Nope. You guys want to see my dick?
Nobody wants to see your dick, dude.
$20?
We already paid you 20. What am I saying?
Oh, all right.
Or like when they bring back Amelia to the house and she's like, you're supposed to be at Jessica's. Oh, my sister put a boy over. Your sister's such a slut. And she's like, I know.
I love the line after he falls off the roof and older guy just splats on the side of the pool and he falls in the pool. He goes, wait, how'd you get down here so fast? Wait, you fell off the roof, didn't you? Yeah, I fell off the roof. I think I'm invincible. I don't think I can die.
How'd you get down here? I told you to go to the roof. Did you fall? Jesus Christ, you kidding?
I think I'm invincible. It's the only thing that makes sense. I don't think I can die.
It's just ridiculous. It's just that in the theater, I think, got me falling off the chair to the point where my girlfriend had to look at me and see why I was laughing so hard. I just lost it at that line.
It's also funny. Like he's a complete screw up. Ryan Gosling's character. He's a complete screw up, but he's a really good dad. Like he wants to, like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, but like, that when she sits down at the bowling alley and she's like, and she says a joke. She's like, rim job. And he's like, rim shot, rim shot. She's saying rim shot.
Giving you a rim shot. I love when he's trying to open the door to the back of the store at the beginning. Yep. And he tries to punch the glass and he's so careful to wrap up his fingers and he punches the glass and he pulls his hand back across the glass and just cuts his wrist.
It's a lot of blood.
Oh God. And he's so out of it. He's trying to put the hat on the nun in the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh God, this movie's fantastic.
It's, not just the line, but the scene when they go to the protest march or the protest and they're all dead. Not the march, but they're all dead because of and they're like, "What are you guys protesting?" The air, man. We're dying, so that's why I did. Yeah, and like, why do you have the gas mask? It's like,
All right, there, guys. Who wants to make $20?
Did you like?
Don't say the Lord's name in vain. Yeah. I didn't, Janet. I found it very useful, actually.
Did you, just to get away from
the dialogue?
The dialogue.
I got more written down.
That's fine. We'll get back to it. Did you like the two voiceovers to start? Now, a staple of PI movies is the voiceover.
Right.
And the next movie that we do next week is good. It also has voiceovers in it, and it's a PI movie.
Yes, we have a lot of detectives.
So, did you like that there was two different voiceovers?
Yeah, it starts with Marsh and it ends with
no, it starts off
Healy,
with it starts off with Healy. Excuse
It does
me.
start off with Healy and then it ends with Marsh.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like that because it's like they're both now partners. They're both they're bookending their own story.
Mhm.
So I do like that quite a bit. Is it needed? No, but again, like you said, it's a staple of a good detective story.
That's what you're gonna have though. It sets up everything. They're providing the exposition without having it crammed into the dialogue. I mean, you do have expositional dialogue in this movie because you have to in any movie.
What I like about stuff like that, it's one of the tropes of noirs that I actually like the best because right off the bat, within that narration, you get a lot of the personality and the opinions and the thoughts of your main character where they don't usually have the most dialogue. So you get a lot of that right off the back end and you know this is the guy I'm following.
Their
You know,
inner
right off the bat.
dialogue, yeah.
Do I like this guy or not?
Yeah. I love the when he's taking the job and the woman's looking for her husband and she's like, I don't know where he is. Where's Fred? And he looks to the urn and it says Fred and he's just like double takes on the urn.
How long has it been since you've seen him?
Since the funeral.
I can start right away.
And that's the other kind of wink, nod, joke of the title of the movie, The Nice Guys, because these guys aren't nice guys. Holland March takes money from old ladies, knowing that the case is really not a case, but he still takes money. And
That's like Amelia's aunt when he's like, I can't do this case, and she opens her checkbook. He goes, how much? And he stops, and he wants to say no,
yeah,
but he doesn't.
well, that's the only way he can make a living. And the daughter knows the scam. You're like, oh, you wait 3 days and you come back and you got to leave, but you don't tell her what it is, but you need more money, you need an extension. And she even knows that that's the scam. And that's what even when they get hired by Judith Kuttner, excuse me, Kittner's from Jaws. As soon as you get hired by Judith Kuttner, his whole plan is just to go back in 3 days to get more money. Like, so he's,
I love when she's writing out the check for $10,000. Goes, we couldn't do it for more than $5,000 for less than $5,000.
And he winks, yeah.
And then he's like, and then she like rips up the check for $10,000.
We've talked about the dialogue. We've talked about the lines. What do you think about the action in this movie?
I like the action in this movie because
the gunfight's fantastic.
The gunfights are cool. When people get hit, I mean, they get hit, and when they get shot, they get shot.
I actually like the fact that there's collateral damage in this movie where people are getting hit when they that aren't involved in the movie,
like bystanders. Yeah.
Like I know it's a funny moment at the party when the giant guy in the stilts gets whatever he's supposed to be, some kind of log man or he gets hit, but like even when they go attack Healy, the woman across the whole alley, and I think that's because they leave because someone got shot, so they get out of there.
Right.
I liked that. Just because you're firing guns, wherever you are. People are gonna get hit,
right?
And I like that they were showing it just to kind of like the collateral damage. And back to Keith David, his older guy, their fight too at the jacuzzi is a good fight, is a nice, hand to hand fight that that we haven't seen probably.
Right. Instead of like ninja moves and stuff, it's just that when they hit, it's like
they're two dudes punching. Right. Yeah. While I like the poetic nature of martial arts, and even like the John Wick series does that a little bit, but John Wick is more rough and grappling. That's his style in that movie.
Right.
But other movies where you see kind of like people fighting, it's all choreographed and stuff like that. And this is choreographed too, but this is more just two guys fighting, two enforcers fighting. And it feels that way, much like when you see Indiana Jones fighting in his movies, it's a guy fighting. It's not, he didn't take martial arts till,
right. It's two people fighting.
Tough
or
guys.
One guy's going to die.
Right.
But they're not necessarily martial art. Yeah. It's real. And it makes each hit is violent and unexpected. It's not a dance.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the cannonball punches, which are nice. But I love when he shoots him through the leg with the jacuzzi and you see the water coming out of the jacuzzi.
Yep.
I think that's a clever way to end it. Although I don't think the gun would have shot through the water.
Why not?
Because it slows down the bullet. And in a revolver, I don't think it would have shot.
I don't know. It's a movie.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna have to. It's a movie, man.
Right. I get that. I'm just realizing it now. I'm saying I didn't think that when I was watching it. Now I'm like, would that have actually gone through the wood? Because it's got to go through layers. But that's neither here nor there.
So, I don't really have any kind of, I don't want to say negative, but any kind of something that stood out where I wasn't like a big fan of. Do you?
it's tough for me to find stuff I don't like about this movie, because when I watched it the first time I watched it, I was enamored by it, and it even made my top 10 list of the last decade, because this movie is just fantastic. But when I was watching it this time, the only thing I wasn't as big a fan of, which I loved the first time around, and I still think it's funny, is the hallucination with the bee.
You didn't like it?
I still thought it was funny, but as I was watching it, I was thinking I can see why some people at this point might have been a little turned off by the movie.
That's an hour into the movie.
Yeah, because it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like if people were on the fence the whole time, that might have been people's breaking point of. Like
why would it be a break? They talk about the bees all the time.
It's really weird and out there. I still thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
when the bee's like, "Nah, man, it's just too smoggy. You get up there, you can't see nothing. No, we haven't been flying around it forever."
Yeah, I guess
it's still funny, and I love the whole ankle.
But here's the thing too. This goes to my point when we started the podcast episode. Is that these characters shape the story. He doesn't fall asleep because he's overtired and drunk and coming down. He doesn't fall asleep. He doesn't crash the car. You don't realize that they didn't get money. Like, you know what I mean? They're already, they actually don't have a briefcase of money. And she's like, oh, she said she packed it herself. And then they go home, and that's when you have the gunfight. And he throws her through that plate glass window. I don't know how she's not cut up when he throws Jessica, the girl, when John Boy.
She just kind of falls
flat. Oh, come on, man. He threw
move.
that window. He chucked her through that thing.
She doesn't marsh it and like rub his hand against the broken shards of glass. But I agree that that's funny, and I get why they have to have him crash, because it's through their mistakes that they figure out the truths.
Yeah.
But it's very out there. It's a really out there moment that just kind of comes out of left field. And I feel like I appreciate that kind of humor and that kind of weirdness, but I feel like a lot of people don't. Like maybe the people that weren't huge fans of the movie.
You mean like general public?
General public. Like I don't like. I know. My girlfriend loves this movie as well. Like,
good.
When we were about to watch it, I was like, "Hey, do you want to watch? We're watching Nice Guys this week." She was like, "Oh yeah, let's watch Nice Guys." So obviously she was laughing at a lot of the same parts, but I don't think she likes the B part that much either, because I was still laughing the second time, but I did notice she wasn't really laughing at that part
really
as much. Yeah. So I feel like there were some parts that, like the weirdness of the B scene, that just didn't kind of work for her.
Well, I thought, well, that's fine. I mean, I get it. If it's okay to like things that are weird, though.
Exactly. I mean, I like it. And again, it's the only part where this time I was like, could this have been changed a little bit, made a little bit different? Sure. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I still enjoyed the scene, and I love everything about this movie. So
I like that it was shot in LA. Obviously some scenes are shot in Los Angeles, but they actually used Atlanta as well. So I enjoyed the production design element of just kind of like making it into the 70s. Oh, even absolutely. If like the billboards are digital mats and stuff like that, I get that. You can't do everything, but like just it was really well done that it became like almost a character in the story, which I thought was very cool. So I was really into that. John Ottman drew inspiration for the music from 70s shows SWAT, The Dean Martin Show, and The Streets of San Francisco. So the score for this movie was influenced by some of the TV shows from the 70s, which also, because this was initially going to be a TV series, I'm wondering if a lot of the same threads and callbacks and influences for this movie came from more TV serials from the 70s rather than movies from the 70s.
I could see that, yeah.
Especially the opening. The opening's got that and
no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the old Warner Brothers logo, which I liked. I appreciate
Of course. Well, you see that in Joker too. They do that for Joker.
Joker does that as well. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it wasn't Warner Brothers, but it did put an old logo.
They did, yes, they did. Yeah, I really don't have much to nitpick about this movie. I'm very surprised when you said that people that don't like it. That surprises me. I will say this. I didn't realize that both Crowe and Gosling never had formal training as an actor. Like they both quit high school and went to just go be in stuff.
Really?
Yes. Now, as an actor,
well, I know Ryan Gosling started young.
Well, they both did.
Yeah.
Granted, Crowe probably started over in Australia. Yeah. If you don't know, he's Australian. As an actor, how do you feel about that? Does that bug you? Does that not bug you? Because like there's a slew of actors that don't have formal training, like Johnny Depp, and I know that
your training comes from your experience. Your training comes from doing the thing, and there are some people who are just born good at it,
but good at pretending.
really
pretty
well.
much. I
Yeah,
mean, you're pretending.
You're playing
That's
professionally.
simplifying.
That's what
it.
I always say.
That's definitely simplifying. I don't mean
No,
to minimize. No. I'm saying for other people listening, I'm not simplifying the role of an actor, but it is. It's pretending well.
I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars going to school to learn how to be an actor at a university, and I can tell you right now that acting is just playing pretend professionally. It is not as easy as people think it might be, but it is playing pretend professionally.
It's kind of like what we do in our commercials.
Exactly.
So I'm getting pretty good at that.
But if you one of the things I learned in college, one of the classes, one of my professors, who was a great actor, great director, is a class about performance, is a class about basically being an actor and what it takes, like in terms of studying your roles and stuff like that. And it was really early on in the course, and he just said, you need to study, you need to learn this, you need to actually get here on time, you need to do the required reading, you need to get up and perform in front of this class, you need to go audition for things. When you're off in the summertime, you need to be either writing, creating, recording, going off and doing plays, or thinking about what you want to do, because if you're not going to make it out there. And he said, this whole class, none of you are going to make it. Out of 100 classes, maybe I'll have one person who makes it as an actor. And he goes, and the reason why, if you had it, you'd already be doing it.
Right.
And that's these people that start young, like Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and any child actor, they've already got it.
Right.
You know, they've just have this innate ability. They don't need any training. They don't need any learning experience. They just get on camera.
They're comfortable.
And they're fantastic.
Yeah, they're comfortable doing that.
Away.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And maybe as they get older, they'll get better and better and better and better.
Sure.
But they start off good enough.
Yeah.
To get jobs.
Yeah.
And the more you do things, the more experience you have, the better you are.
Absolutely.
As well. If you're just a pretty face that just gets hired because you look great. You know,
that's how
that's fine, but maybe you'll get really good at it.
There's different ways to get into the door, quote unquote, or get,
Right.
as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang says, get invited to the party. But you,
Well, wait, he gets invited to the party. It's a little different.
I don't know, let him go, keep going. Anyways, but yeah, but getting there, staying there is what, is where, you as your strength as whatever, an actor or performer or whatever you're, whatever you're doing, right, director, that's key. And that's always the hard work. I tell my kids all the time when they I want to do this, I want to do that. It's like, you can be whatever you want to be, but you're going to have to work at it. You got to work hard.
Exactly. Like Ryan Gosling started as a child actor. I remember watching him in Young Hercules, which was on WB Kids or Fox Kids or something like that. He was not great. Obviously, the reason he got that was because he was a pretty face.
Sure.
And it's like, oh yeah, let's put Ryan Gosling. The ladies love him, sure. But like, if you look at like the way his movies have gone, younger Ryan Gosling couldn't have done a movie like Nice Guys, I don't think. Ryan Gosling's now,
I don't know.
absolutely can. I think starting with like The Notebook, he's been on like a hot streak where like his movies, he's been fantastic.
Of course, well, The
He's a
Notebook's
little
what
bit more
made,
understated,
The Notebook's what made him, obviously, a lot of people know about him, but like
Right.
he started out, whatever it was, Remember the Titans. He
Yeah.
was like the quarterback or something in that one, I think, or the wide receiver or something like that.
He's okay in that, but you could tell he's like a
lot
younger
of
actor,
people
but-
are in that movie.
Right.
So yeah, I just meant like just the fact that these people don't have formal training. Like that's like when
trained by doing.
I know that's like when people look at the resume, like, oh, let's see you. It's like that's not what's important. Like just do the scene.
And also the people around you help you out as well. You watch other
Sure.
actors doing their process, especially when you're behind the scenes like that.
Sure.
You can see what they do and get experience, and they'll give you tips and they want to help you. Your co-stars want you to be better because it makes them look good as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to be acting next to a bad actor because then your acting will just seem out of place if you're doing a good job, and their bad job will just make you look worse.
Right.
I mean, like the only people that are going to be you're overshadowing me are going to be the snootiest of the snooty actors who are really just like all out for themselves.
Right.
And just want them to look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, nobody wants to be next to a bad actor, so they'll help you out, especially a younger actor.
All right, so I think we're wrapping up. That's Butler's acting debate lecture for today.
I've got more for you.
Oh, okay.
Not for this.
Do you have anything else to add other than more dialogue you like, more scenes you like? Before we wrap this up, I'll tell you a couple of scenes I like. I like when he's like, Diner guy, you're that Diner guy, right? That story, that Diner guy. And he tells him a story and then he falls asleep.
And then when he tells him about the diner guy again, he's like,
it's about yesterday. What? Were you talking to me?
I love when he's trying to find the ankle gun.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got the ankle gun, the gun. What are you talking about? I mean, wait, was I dreaming? That was a dream. That was a dream, wasn't it? And Vicky's looking at the whole time with the gun.
Or where they're talking to they're in the Department of Justice office. And she's like, my other business is like porno. He's like, oh, really? What kind?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what kind do you like? What's your favorite? And he's like, no, not.
Yeah, she does it. She tries to put an end to porno. Oh, right. Oh, Thank you for that. I love that at the end of the movie, the whole lesson is like Marshall obviously has alcoholism, and he drinks all the time, and he gets into the bar, and Russell Crowe's drinking. He goes, and they talk about how they failed and how the Detroit industry got away with everything. He goes, well, at least you're drinking again. He's like congratulating Russell Crowe for drinking straight out of the bottle.
Says her husband's what did he say? He says her husband's cheating on her with Linda Carter, or could be somebody like Linda Carter. All right, so I guess if you didn't like The Nice Guys, that's too bad, but we did. So well, thank you for coming. Thank you for journeying down this lane with us to memory lane and thinking about all the good lines and scenes and dialogue that we enjoyed. I don't know where I'm going with that, so just cut that up, Butler.
All right.
All right, so join us next week. We're going to be talking about another private investigator movie, but this is a little bit more of a drama, not as comedic as this one.
Oh, it's not a comedy?
You weren't laughing, were you?
Some parts.
Oh boy,
at Miles' scenes.
You mean Mouse?
What?
His name is Mouse.
Mouse.
I gotcha. Yeah. So we're doing Devil in a Blue Dress next week. The Denzel Washington movie directed by Carl Franklin, written by Carl Franklin, but based on a Walter Mosley book. But yeah, so that came out in the mid 90s. So we're going back to the 90s next week.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for listening today, guys. As always, if you want to follow us, Mike, where can they find us?
You can find us on our website at forgottencinemapodcast.com, where we have links to all of our older and newer, past, present episodes, as well as our merch store where you can buy and walk around as a walking billboard for us, which we would appreciate. We also have links to our social medias. You can find us on social media at Forgotten Cinema Pod, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. We post all the time. We post commercials every week as well, which are pretty funny. You guys should check those out.
I think they're funny. I mean, I hope they're funny. I hope you like them.
Please like them. And if you are listening to this podcast with a friend and you don't know where they're listening to this podcast, again, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere podcasts can be found.
Awesome. So we'll see you next week, guys. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.
Hey, Field.
Yes.
You want to see my big dick?
Nobody wants to see your dick, dude.